Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's edition of the Justice Review, where we like to take our favorite shows, whether they be from the superhero realm, sci-fi, whatever they may be, break them down and give you guys that knit and that grit. And you guys know, we like it, we love it, and if we hate it, you for damn sure gonna hear about it. And today is a special one, ladies and gentlemen, because Netflix decided to take a chance. That's right, they wanted to shoot a AAA film with some heavy hitters. I'm talking Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Thank God I got that out correctly.
Heavy hitters.
Ooh, heavy hitters. Well, at one point would have been...
Heavy hit her.
That's what I said.
You said hit her.
Yes.
As a more than one big star.
Yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Don't disrespect him. Don't you dare disrespect him.
JGL, give my respect.
We'll get into JGL.
He did a movie about a bicycle.
Name the last movie he was in before this.
Joe Blow.
7,500, 7,200, whatever one it was.
Batman.
Okay.
That's not the point. That's not the point.
Over 10 years ago.
That's not the point.
And it was the worst of the
How
three.
long ago was Lupin?
Looper was a movie.
Y'all missed it.
I forgot about Looper.
Y'all missing the point.
What was that bicycle movie?
Look, first of all, none of this trumps Third Rock from the Sun. So, whatever.
Y'all missing the point. Either way, so Netflix tried, and they decided to give us a kind of a superhero-based show called, what's it called?
Project Power.
That's right, Power's the sequel. So they gave us this.
Wait, what?
They gave us the show, and
Ghost was in this?
Power 2, good book of Go.
so basically they gave us this movie where the whole purpose is that powers are being sold like drugs. That's the whole premise of the movie. Now, going around the table, what were some of the good parts about this movie that stood out?
So, I'm going to go ahead and start off and say that I don't have anything to say.
Damn. Not good. I'll go next.
Go ahead.
I was talking shit about Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but he did good in this movie. Because I didn't think he was anything in Batman. I'm not even gonna lie to you. He was there. He was a man in his 30s, being a cop. But in this,
In this, he was a man in his 30s.
being a cop.
But he had a personality.
No, he had an accent.
Boston. Or New Orleans. Oh, no.
From Nolans.
And I like Jamie Foxx, but I always like Jamie Foxx.
One thing speaking to piggyback off this is that the caliber of Jamie Foxx does not go down no matter what he's in. I thought that whatever movie he's in, that he brings a game, and this one is no, he doesn't slouch in this one either. I thought he was a welcome refreshment to the whole genre of powers. His criticism and sarcastic nature that he has in here actually played off very well with some of the more characters who were more annoying. So. And you know what? The fact that Marvel and DC has not snatched him up for something is really telling, especially in this movie, because he puts his
Jamie
skill.
Foxx was Electro in Amazing Spider-Man.
Like I said, the fact that Marvel.
He was also supposed to be tapped for Spawn.
The fact that Marvel and DC have not snatched him up for his talent is really telling.
If you talk to the creator of Spawn, he's still Spawn.
So
That movie is not happening.
so let's go to another good.
I'm going to be generous. I'm reaching low here. The girl who played Robin's mother is actually a local actor here. She's actually my little sister's acting coach in the local program here. She did good. You probably seen her in other stuff and didn't even recognize it.
That scene was funny though.
Yeah.
When he comes out of the bathroom.
Telling me and this beautiful black woman.
She's been.
Did they show you a warrant? No, they did not.
So
She's been in stuff like Atlanta and some other local stuff too.
So yeah, in that scene,
So this was shot here.
No, shot in New Orleans.
It was shot in New Orleans. You
See-
couldn't tell? I could tell, but I had to.
Did you not see that graffiti?
you didn't see the
I saw the graffiti.
you didn't see the No Limit tank.
I'm gonna say something. So, maybe y'all will think this is funny, but at the beginning of the movie, they show this skyline of New Orleans, and they show these buildings, and I'm like, oh, those look nice. And then we get to the buildings, and it's the rundown apartments where they had that fight in, and I was like, oh.
Another good, a good that I thought about this movie is that they showed that the body has its limits. Usually with superpowered movies or like superhero movies, we see a lot of people with immunity to their own powers.
Yes.
But with these, especially the thermal regulation ones with Machine Gun Kelly and the girl in the tank.
The ice chick.
Yeah, it showed how their bodies, weren't built for this and therefore cannot take the heat.
I'll agree with you to an extent.
One break that I...
So I did want to continue what she was saying in regards to the powers. You could tell that to an extent that they did some research on what they wanted to pull from, because there was a lot of references that they pulled from when it came to the superpowers and the lore behind it. To name a few, One Piece, because you gotta take a magical pill or whatever, and whatever power you get, that's what you get. Like, you don't know what it is until you get it. Our Man from DC, or if y'all watching that fucking Stargirl show, like you get a time limit on it. X-Men. What else? It's a lot. It's a lot of.
A little bit of a limitless, I think.
Yeah. You got a lot of franchises that they use to put their lore together when it comes to the superpowers.
So I'll agree to an extent as far as, sure, you get an ability and you don't know what it is until you take it, and your body's not built for this, except for the main character.
Oh, one more.
No, his body wasn't built for it either, because he literally almost died at the end.
So one more.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So one more that they pulled from Captain America Truth. Yeah.
And another good that I have is the special effects budget was there. Like, I love the fact that this wasn't, like, the powers didn't look all cheesy. Like, one of the best shots in the cinematography of it. Like, one of the best shots that they had of the film is when the girl was frozen and she's dying in the tank, but you can still see the fight choreography going as she's dying in the tank. I thought that was
I'll push back slightly on that.
I will too.
That was a neat concept, but
it was hard.
I could not make out the fight, so it irked the shit out of me.
Well, and that was the thing, because I was like...
Which fight was this?
When she's freezing to death in the tank.
And it's doing a pan around.
Oh.
But I thought that was...
that scene.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting...
I liked it, but...
I would like for there not to have been ice on the window.
and I think that was the point that they were going across, is that you are supposed to be more focused on the fact that this young lady is dying, but yet you're trying to see the guys getting their ass whipped in the back. It's like you're missing the point that there's this innocent life in this tank that's slowly being... Like, she's dying slowly, and then the whole time you're like, but I can't see Jamie Foxx throw that right. Die quick, bitch, you move out the way. And I think that was kind of what they were trying to go for in instance.
For an action movie, I wanted to see the action.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting across too. Was it a great concept? Yes. I appreciated it, but this wasn't the place. In my opinion, this wasn't the place. But a positive I will say, piggybacking off of that in particular, this movie was shot very well.
Yes.
I really liked the cinematography. There's only one other thing. Now remember I said the shot that you were talking about, I appreciated it. There's only one shot that I hated, and to me it was like, okay, this turned into a direct-to-DVD movie that you find at Blockbuster. I know it's weird, but it's the girl, when she was on the motorcycle towards the end, her motorcycle headshots, I was like, we didn't need to do that. I know it's kind of weird and off, but...
I think that they didn't know how to end the movie, and...
It wasn't at the end. This was going to the final act. She was riding the motorcycle, trailing the van.
Okay, gotcha.
And it was just, it was supposed to be like a head, like the camera was in, this is clearly a GoPro.
So a person, POV?
Yeah, not really POV, but like the camera was inside the helmet looking at her. It was just weird. It was like, why do we have to see her face as she goes, as she's following the people?
So another good that I had, and that goes to the shots too, is like the shot that they were doing when they were chasing the guy out the bank.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was clever to use, especially something as difficult as making the guy blend in with the background of everything that he was touching, especially the car scenes, the accents. So I thought that was some great tracking that they were doing with that shot. But a great that I have for the film itself overall are some of the themes that they touched on. If you saw some of the things that they touched on were like experimentation on kids, so which were hard back to references like the Tuskegee experiment, Miss Everboys, and how they use and even
Stealing black girls.
yeah, and also the whole thing about child trafficking as well.
Military.
But there was a bunch of themes that they touched on. And I was like, okay, you know, this is actually relevant, especially that's going on now.
Not to mention the biggest one, Henrietta Lacks.
Oh yes,
We'll get to that. 'Cause I got something to say about that one.
but I thought it was interesting, especially if you talk about how the wealthy and the powerful exploit the poor, because you see that this drug is taking over the streets. And then they like, yeah, they only doing this in poor communities because they want to use us as lab rats. And that, of course, harpers back to the cocaine epidemic in the 80s. And so I thought that it was a lot of powerful messaging here, especially to the ladies, to the scientists when she gets her concept. And she was like, you know, there's necessary evil that I need to do, you know, in order to change the world. And Jamie Foxx is like, you don't care about changing the world. You don't give a fuck about that. You just care about money. And that was the realization that she's just been lying to herself this whole time. But of course, that doesn't stop her. She wants to pursue this. The value of black bodies, which is a huge message in this film, and people of color, and how this guy who was in the military, his girl goes missing. But there's no news coverage about her. There's nobody looking for her. It's just him on his own. And how corrupt the system is, too, because you guys saw, it was like, your captain is in on this. It's higher ups in on this. That you see all these poor people who are in public and on the media dying in the streets. And the media is covering it. And there's nobody who can do anything about it because the government comes in and hushes it up. So it's a whole big brother aspect of it, too. So like I said, there was a lot of great themes that were tackled in this. I don't know if all of them were executed to perfection, but I like and even Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character as the police officer whose job is to protect the city, but he's fighting against the system who doesn't want him to do his job. So it's kind of hard to be a good cop, and we see those in the instances in which those police who weren't police.
Because even his chief was handcuffed.
Exactly.
And now, I don't know, this was kind of nebulous to me. Was the chief in on it
Yes,
willingly?
he was.
Yes.
Willingly?
We learned about that later that he was.
Okay, because that was kind of confusing because, so here's the thing, a lot of the media that we've been watching lately have had a fuck the police mentality, and rightfully so. In this one, it doesn't come across that way because you see the police chief is being restricted from doing what he wants to do, and of course Joseph Gordon-Levitt has to play the hero cop. And I had forgotten that in that midway through the movie we find out that the police chief is willingly in on it.
And then another instance of that is like having and the whole point of in order to represent justice and law, even the police officer had to see that he had to step outside the law himself and adapt to the current trends of today in order to deal with criminal behavior, which was a great message in itself that you can't follow the structural procedures. You have to be able to adapt to your environment in order to solve issues. And because he was like, yeah, I took the pill because we're getting slaughtered. Nobody's doing anything about it, and this is the only way that I know how to combat the criminal element. And I thought that was an interesting point to bring into the movie as well.
I got one more good. This movie loves to show off New Orleans, and they do it well beyond Bourbon Street and the French Quarter.
Yeah, because typically movies, when they go to places, they show you the places that everybody knows. If you go to Las Vegas, if a movie's in Las Vegas or even in fucking Nevada, where are they gonna go? Las Vegas, Vegas Strip.
You
all
either
the
see
casinos.
deserts or casinos.
So I agree with you on that. Like, they showed you that New Orleans is more than
The unkept parts.
exactly.
Like, if we gonna go to New Orleans, let's fucking go to New Orleans. Gambit, take a note from that, because that movie is still happening.
So there was a shot where Jamie Foxx was at the gas station.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes these things, I appreciate these things sometimes, and sometimes they annoy me. I'm not sure what I feel about this one. But if you look in the background, there's a gas sign marquee, and it just says power.
I didn't even notice that.
I notice little things like that in movies, like, because that's the director's talking to you.
Now,
the cinematographer's talking to you.
What I did notice is the truck that Jamie Foxx drives at the beginning that he comes into town in. The company on it is the name of the production company of the movie. Now that I caught, because they show it to you just soon after the opening credits, and I was like,
Yeah.
Well, my final good for this would actually have to be okay. It's weird because I wasn't in love with her character. I believe her name was Robin.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't in love with her character, but I love the fact that they gave her an extra element of depth. Like when we first get introduced to her, she's like, "I want to be a rapper," and I was like, "Oh fuck." and I get it, especially in the fact that the film that they showed that she has some skill, but the fact that she was actually competent, and the fact that she could actually heal Jamie Foxx, showed that, and that she could actually retain the knowledge. It's just that she might have been like she had stage fright. So so it showed that she was smart. She was very capable. She just had a debilitating thing about herself that kept her from being who she wanted to be. So I thought that was a nice element to add to her.
So her classmate who...
I just wanted to add that I also liked that we had basically a protagonist that didn't give in to basically what everyone else was on by the end of the movie because it was a necessary thing that she had to do. She was like, nah, I don't want to touch it. I'm going to stay away from it. And I like that they kept through that.
Her classmate who was sitting next to her in class, she's the one who wrote all the lyrics. She's the actual rapper. And I think Jamie Foxx scouted her and got her to write in the movie.
Okay, so that's all I have for the good. Well, that's all I have for the good so far.
I'm done too.
My final good
I
was
like
your
that.
final.
They showed what powers people would get by associating them with the animals that have these abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So when we see the invisible guy, it's not invisibility, it's just camouflaging to your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
And so we saw the octopus, we saw the rat that can literally break its bones.
What do you
to get into
associate ice
places.
with though?
Thermoregulation, how animals adapt to the
Cold blooded
environment they're in.
Okay. That's a reach, but okay.
Yeah, I'll talk about it in my past.
Right, now since we done, pumped it up a little bit, let's tear it down some.
Okay, I gotta.
How about them bads?
Okay, this is a small one, but it needs to be put out there because it was horrifically offensive. How dare you shoot a movie in New Orleans and of all the chicken places you go to a rusty, nasty ass Church of Chicken.
Hold on, tag me in.
You trifling bitch.
I almost threw the fuck up. When they said a church like church.
Don't you ever do that again.
When the Popeyes was right there.
And not only just Popeyes, I forgot the name of the chicken place. It's in New Orleans. It's in New Orleans. But it shits on all of them. Churches and definitely churches. But it shits on Popeyes too. And it's like, y'all didn't even go there. I forgot the name of it. Put it in the credits.
I was offended. I almost turned the whole movie off.
How dare you?
I was like, Jamie.
When Jamie Foxx went to the churches, I was like, you at the wrong place, dog.
You know what? At that point, I was like, now that is an actor. He sat down inside there, and he looked like he was comfortable. I was like, that is Oscar
But if you
caliber.
remember, he only got water.
A newspaper and some hot water.
You said hot water.
And if you watch it and you corporate sponsor church chick, go fuck yourself.
It's nasty, repugnant shit. In my fucking movie like that.
I was about to fail the whole movie. love the themes, you know about the children. That is that Popeye's chicken. Sorry, Church's chicken. See, it's fucking
Like, you realize the movie can't go beyond a 7 now as far as because of that one scene. Like, we would have gave it a 7.5, but you
Exactly.
the fucking
And do you know how fucked up that is? If in Endgame Ant-Man walked into a church of chicken, it wouldn't have got above a 7. I loved Endgame.
Like, it went like this. Okay, movie, snuff film.
Like, whoa, we just got real dark. All right, so
Like the lady was in the back of the door, and she was like, her soul looked like it had left his body. And she
You
was
talking
like,
about the woman where she was like, is what's
Like,
her
I
name
just
back
got
there?
out.
no,
I think she really worked at that church. No shame.
no,
But I think
she was an actor. When she had that, when her bite tire got cut, and she was like, "Did you see who did this?" And I was like, "I'm just glad to be out there."
so this is not a superhero film.
it wasn't.
Let's stop calling it that.
Well,
No, it's super powered.
who said it was a superhero film?
We actually said it a few times, and I've heard
Well,
I heard other people reviewing it call it that too as well.
Mhm.
It's a small story that features powers.
It's literally the drug. It's literally the war on drugs, literally with superpowers and replacement of drugs. That's all it is. It's a response to the failure of the war on drugs.
I know.
Like here is this. Well, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, we're in the zeitgeist of superhero pop culture right now. So
Okay.
it's not a superhero film.
Granted.
well, they did that because of marketing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's the marketing tactic because of what's hot right now. You know what else is a marketing tactic? And this is another bad I had. So going off of all of the trailers and stuff that I saw on Twitter, you would have thought Joseph Gordon-Levitt was the lead in this movie. With every trailer.
Wait. I'm sorry. I gotta push way back on this.
No, go ahead.
What was the last movie Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in?
Some garbage that I didn't even see.
Okay, you saw Jamie Foxx and you thought Joseph Gordon-Levitt was leading this?
No, what I'm saying is
The
going
movie
off
trailers
of
portrayed it.
trailers and advertisements. Like every advertisement that I've seen, especially like on Twitter and shit, it says something along the lines of, see Jordan Gordon-Levitt get hit in the face with a bullet in Project Power, or see Machine Gun Kelly set on fire and
Is that who that was in the beginning?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
No one except for us talks about Jamie Foxx in this movie, and he is the lead.
When I first saw the trailer, I was like, man, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's gonna be a great sidekick to Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
That's what it turned out to be.
Yeah, that's what it turned out to be, but the advertisement will lead you to believe he is the main character.
And the movie actually starts you off like that.
Exactly, and we know why they do that. Because you want to get all audiences, and half of the country is divided right now, so you got to get that side that feels like they're being oppressed to watch your movie.
Okay. Bad about
Oh.
this film.
The villains were terrible.
I'm sorry, there was a villain.
that skank.
Henrietta Lacks. I'm like, first of all, let's get into this now.
Don't you dare say her name.
That, but also, like, I realize that you people that work in the movies troll on Facebook and shit and see all the memes and shit that post up that teach you lessons that was shit you should have learned in high school and college and all of that. But, like, we don't need... When you want to give a message, the shit should be subtle.
And just to bounce off that for a second, I want to go to the villains for a second. I thought, and I get it for a realm of realism, but I thought the fights between some of these bigger people that took the pills were a lot shorter and quicker than they could. Like, you could have expounded upon this and made the fight choreography like when
Like the bearded bald dude.
him, but
Nappa.
but Dr. Jekyll in particular, like that could have been a bomb ass boss.
That's why I kind of, you didn't see it, but I kind of side-eyed you guys when you said budget. I was like, they got a quick budget to do a quick CG thing. And I was like, all right.
No.
Talking about the guy that grew?
when the chick who died inside the ice chamber.
That turned into the girl's mom.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was the worst out of all of them because he turned a movie that could have been serious, like
Into a character.
Yeah, into a cartoon. Like I thought it was who did I think it was? I thought it was Jim Carrey.
I thought it was Ethan.
You guys thought it was you thought it was even off.
Ethan Hawke.
Regardless, it was terrible and stupid, and I didn't want it in my movie.
I thought they could have. I know what they were trying to do with having people take the pill and literally just blow up off the spot, but I would have.
What animal was that?
No, that was
showing the effects that it can have on your body.
That's what it was.
It's specific to your body, and if your body can't take it, then
and
just blow up.
And that kind of sucks too.
Yeah.
Like I can't even. That's not even.
I know you think it sucks, but it's actually solid strategy. Like I just got money off of you and you dead.
I mean,
you can't even come back to me and say these drugs were bad. I didn't get superpowers.
But the thing is, now it's not even like the advantages of taking that drug are next to nothing now because it's either you get a good power, you get a shitty power, or you die.
But that was the whole premise of the show because even in the beginning, when Joseph Gordon-Levitt pulled up on those kids, and he was, and the kid was about to put the pill in his mouth. He was like, that has a more chance of killing.
So
you
here's
than
the
it is
thing:
saving you.
how does Joseph Gordon-Levitt know about that?
Because he's already
he takes
taken.
the pills and he's seen other people take those pills.
Exactly.
So he's scientific enough to be like,
It's not
so this
scientific
happened.
No, it's not scientific.
he literally
It's
just
what
popped
he
the pill.
saw.
The whole thing is they went to New Orleans. They sent drug dealers out and sent them out and told them to sell this stuff. And they've observed.
But these drug dealers have to know what could happen if you take the
They
pills.
did
right?
because they
they're
asked
paid
him.
to distribute it, and then $5 a pill. They don't care.
Machine Gun Kelly even asked him, "What does this shit do?" And he was like, "Don't worry about it. Sell my shit."
And then
That's
he
really
ended
fucking
up-
dumb. If you
point.
selling some shit,
No, but think about it. It also mimics actual drugs in real life. Just think about it. You can take heroin and you can live, or you can OD the first time you try it. It's the same thing with cocaine as well. So like hard drugs in general, there's no guarantee you're gonna survive the first hit.
And it was weeks later. Of course, police officers would know that some people are dying by being blown up. And when we're introduced to that concept, it's seen as more of a rumor. It's like, they say that you might not get a power, you might blow the fuck.
but regardless of if it's a rumor or not, you would think rumors like that would drive down your drug sales.
I mean, there's rumors
Not when
that
people
if you,
hear, I could get superpowers. That's all that sticks.
Exactly.
Or you could get a shitty power, or you could blow up.
They just said superpowers.
But
Literally, when the guy said, he's like, I just want to climb the walls. He said, I could climb the walls. That's all he was thinking about.
People literally know that there's people out there sucking dick for crack. And people out there who are willingly going out to get crack.
But here's the thing, and this is what even makes it dumber for me. Some of the users were using this shit.
Yes.
And I'm like, you know what it does?
Especially let's look at Machine Gun Kelly
Do we have
character.
to?
I don't want to, but I have to use it as an example because he used the drug.
Coulson.
He sold it to enough people and probably watched them get superpowers where he was like, I want some of that shit too.
And he had obviously tried it before because in the movie, when we see him, half his face is already burnt. So he knows the outcome, that the fact that even though he gets powers, his own powers is hurting him.
But he still uses those drugs.
If you have to.
And my thing was, what irked me was, it's probably obvious, but I want to know what was going on so much that I almost called him Ethan Hawke. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was like, I gotta risk taking drugs to keep up with the
He
criminals.
said it. He said entire precincts have been wiped out.
Yeah, he said the police were getting slaughtered because they're running into these criminals with X amount of powers that they can't fight against. Like, remember the invisibility dude took out 5 of them along with a gun.
Which I have a question.
And imagine if he had run into someone with MGK's power, just burn down the entire building. There's how many odd people in there? How do you fight that?
That's why he was like, when we fighting the man behind right here. Like, it's kind of like in the Flash when you see metahumans and the police still show up. You be like, why?
Let's go home. This one out. But,
hey, you stop down there.
where that fight between Machine Gun Kelly and Jamie Foxx got kind of stupid with me is like, so you know what happened the first time you took the drug. You know that you were literally burning alive the second time you took the drug. You then pop 3 more after that?
It was an act of desperation. It was like, this my first.
But Jamie Foxx is regular. Desperate against what?
Well,
he
actually,
was army trained.
Well, yeah, he's on military trained, and he's already proven that he can kill people without using his powers. So Machine Gun Kelly.
When?
By killing people without using his powers.
But Machine Gun Kelly doesn't know that.
But he knows that he's being attacked
He knew
right
he-
now.
By some guy. He doesn't know what his background
He
is.
put 2 bullets in his chest already.
And mind you,
Which I have to ask, how is he still running?
mind you, he was whooping his ass when he was on fire. So that was another thing.
And he had a reputation. Like, he was like, tell them, what was his call name?
Well,
Not
the major.
Yeah, he was like, tell your dude on the phone, the major is here.
Yeah.
So he had a reputation.
Because he'd been working his way up the line. So if he hears something called the major, he's like, okay, so let me go and check because you must be somebody serious. So it just didn't make sense to me because I'm like, you're dying right now. You know you're dying right now. Stop it.
Like, what was he trying to accomplish in that fight?
Everyone in that movie that took the drug had fucked up adverse effects except for Joseph Gordon.
No, even his was starting to show too because he started hemorrhaging his eye every time
Got
he
shot in the
Yeah.
face.
But-
Shot directly in the head,
No.
and the drug was wearing off at that point.
No, not that part because if you saw it, like he got shot and he goes down. The form it starts to form, but before his time goes off. Because his whole thing is I'm just bulletproof, but the thing is it puts so much strain on him that it starts to cause that blood clot in
I
his
just
eye.
thought that
Got
was his.
shot point
No,
blank.
he
No.
got shot, and that's when the blood clot
No,
appeared.
because it happened again. He took the medicine again, and that eye darkened even more the second time. Yeah, go back and watch it.
I watched it twice. I didn't see that.
Because he got to a point where he stopped taking the pill.
Well, he
And-
only had a certain amount of pills.
Yeah, and then he even got hit by the tank, the dude with the tank.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't think he was going to survive that. But,
Well,
that
he
dude
was
seems
on the pill at that point.
that dude seemed stronger than him. But he got right back up and kept moving. Granted, he said he was hurt at the end of the movie, but like,
Yeah, because the drug had worn off and then he got shot.
Yeah.
right. So I mean,
But,
he's still trucking along.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the blood clot thing, but I just saw his skin hardening, and so I like that effect. We're not in the lights right now, but
So
I like that.
when he was hitting the chameleon dude, like, does the chameleon dude have super strength too?
He had something because the chameleon dude was taking hits.
He survived that.
You can't fight what you can't see.
He was taking hits though.
But another bad that I had was towards the end.
Ooh.
So Dr. McGreedy grabs Robin and is like, if you don't come out of there, I'm gonna kill her. And I'm like, who is she to him?
Like his daughter, who he just worked so hard to come back and get. She's like, I want Tracy out here now, or I will kill her.
Kill me! Like,
I just met her
It's his
yesterday.
daughter.
literally met her.
First of all, the privilege on her white face.
Not even
Yeah,
yesterday,
yeah,
that
yeah.
very same day.
And you
And
want me
she's
to
just
get,
like, oh, he must care about this person more than his daughter, and he's like, nah.
I'm gonna give up my daughter who I've been hunting for a street rat. Get out of here.
But so let's talk about this because I feel like this needs to be expressed. And you guys tell me if this is really stupid. They hunted him and they hunted Jamie Foxx and his daughter down. Took the daughter and dipped.
Mrs. Everboys.
Yes.
Then we flash forward to the movie, and now they want to hunt him down. And from what I understand, after they got him, they wanted to harvest his DNA or whatever to get superpowers. Why didn't they snatch him in the beginning?
Because they had heard they didn't need him, but they're like, now he's here, we might as well just take what we
Like
can
they weren't chasing him at all. He was tracking them, and he had tracked them down to New Orleans. And he was like, "Okay, I finally found them." And when he met up with her, he was like, with the white lady was like, "I don't want to waste you because you were part of the original experiment. So instead of, I'm just gonna take your genetic material and throw you off the fucking boat."
Okay, why didn't they do that from the beginning when they took her?
Because getting Tracy was the objective, but they already had Tracy at that point, so they're just like, well, you're here anyway.
Okay, but my thing is, he was right there. You had him. You might as well have did that.
He didn't have any superpowers. He was just regular.
He didn't have any throughout the majority of the movie.
I thought he said
Well,
that they
because
experimented on him.
Yeah,
they experimented on him, but he still couldn't do anything without taking a pill. Tracy didn't need a pill.
All the experimentation that they did on him passed down to her as she had powers naturally.
Right.
They figured out that she was Jean Grey and was like, okay, we need to get her.
I'm sorry, but like that doesn't make sense to me. Like you had him right there when you took the girl. You might as well have taken him too.
He didn't have any powers.
What he's saying is that if Jamie Foxx can produce kids that naturally have powers, take the producer.
Exactly.
Take the cow.
Well, if that was the case, I would take the mother, wouldn't you?
It depends on genetics. I don't know.
Why would you take the mother?
Because she was the one where everything was going on in the womb.
Yeah,
but she didn't have the stuff in her that would.
They experimented on Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, but it was something about their genetic material that worked together to produce it. There's nothing to say that, hey, if I make him,
well, we don't know that it was specifically those two. How do we know it's not?
First of
him
all,
and he can do that with every woman.
But that's what I think they were trying to use with the progressions that they made. Because at that moment they could only make the drug last for 5 minutes.
Well,
they
seems
said
to me
more testing, they could make it last like for a lifetime.
Well, it seems to me, had they taken Jamie Foxx when they took his daughter, they wouldn't be stumbling upon these mysteries and shit.
Another thing
I know that, but I mean, like, I shouldn't have to watch a movie where people do stupid things. Like, this is. You know what? I'm gonna say the Infinity War rant for another.
So this was Slade Wilson and Rose Wilson. All right,
and another thing is like I think that it would have been to the point where they might have been too dangerous to bring him because he was able to fight them back all this time.
Sure, whatever.
So while they had built up a reputation and basically more people to back them. And he's outnumbered. They think he doesn't have anybody with him. They're like, oh, we'll just take what you can get.
The argument could be made, why didn't they just kill him while he was there?
That too.
People are stupid.
I want to know why he talked to the guy who was guarding him, and he talked the guy into let him go. What was that conversation?
He was talking about his power, and I was saying earlier about the animals that they come from. He referenced the shrimp that he gets, the pistol shrimp that he gets his power from,
which is real,
and how it moves so fast that it vaporizes the water around it, and that's only relevant to its size. And so he's like what, 6 foot, X amount of pounds. The amount of power he would have would be ridiculous, and which it was at the end. So the dude's like, I'm not taking chances.
I thought that they needed water around.
No. There's water in the air.
Yeah.
So.
And it was raining.
So I got a question.
Outside.
Where does Machine Gun Kelly get his power from?
They just called it thermal regulation.
You can't. That doesn't make fire.
Going back to him, the reason why he let him go because he turned around and he had the pill in his mouth.
Yeah.
So he was like, either you let me go, we gonna find out what this pill gonna do. And he was like, okay.
I'm not taking the chances.
Sure. Whatever.
You know what the pills can do. That you don't know what.
The chance you work for the company who tests the pills on people.
Or I just walk away.
Yeah, but at the
But he can still take the pill. You don't know the range that he
get
has.
the fuck up.
Yeah.
But you don't know the range that he has, so let him go. So he's like, okay,
I'm sorry, wait.
Don't kill me, Mr. Superpowered Man.
Let me defend him on this. He did give out a pretty specific animal. If he had said I could turn to a lion or whatever, I would have been like, yeah, nigga, whatever.
Take a shrimp and then detail what it's gonna do.
Exactly. And I'm a thug. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck that is. I'm
like, I'm gonna just let you go. We good, right?
I don't think he can do it, but I don't want to take that chance.
that, but that was the smartest move in henchman history. If you know that your people is outside getting work left and right, you know what? You might win this battle. I'm gonna go ahead and do 5 steps ahead so I don't die. Get
Like,
the fuck
listen,
on.
we good. Give me like 10-second head start.
Yeah. You go do you.
Remember me when you wild out.
You do you, boo boo. That was the smartest move in movie history.
Oh, I don't know.
Wait, okay, what did you want? Like, man, fuck you, man. I don't believe you. All right, cool.
You're right.
Peel. Now I'm melted like an eagle statue just pinned up against the wall like every other asshole.
If I'm a henchman, I got a dude tied to a chair behind a cage, and he talking mess, and he said that. And so I'm gonna walk closer to him to let him go.
Yes.
Yes, especially if he says, if you let me go, I will not take the thing that could
See,
possibly.
But he can still like beat your ass.
See, like, say it
Or I just walk away.
nah, say it as that.
As I was saying, you don't know the range that this power would have. 'Cause
Say it.
you would see some of the experiments that people have made on them.
Wait a minute, say it as that dude who will see the one dude with the stick fight 50 people and be like, you know what, I think we can take him. No.
It's just a stick.
No.
When you see
Wow.
I
Okay,
said-
you don't
When
work
you
20
see the effects of what people can do, you don't just say, oh, let me just try to get to a safe distance. You're on a boat in the middle of the water. How far do you think you can get?
So I'm
Especially if you don't know the range.
So I'm gonna let the guy go that can destroy the boat.
Yes.
Yes! Like, give me like a head start so I can get to a lifeboat, get off, and then do what you gotta do.
I'm gonna defend Sam for a minute. That conversation and Jamie Foxx's quote unquote threat was sloppily written and performed. Like and it was sloppily worded.
When Kylo Ren was having a tantrum in his chamber, them stormtroopers rolled around. I was like, up, wilding again. We're going this way. Yeah, we're going this way.
I'm gonna put it like this.
Okay, the stormtroopers worked for Kylo Ren. This dude doesn't even know who Jamie Foxx is like that. So yeah, listen, we're cool. I'm gonna let you go.
We
Give
can
me a
move
head
on.
start.
I just didn't like the
Look,
scene.
I just contend that had they captured him when they captured his daughter, they would have had to go through that scene.
I mean,
So, incredibly brilliant. So, does anybody have any more bads before?
okay, so Robin is how old?
I don't
Like
care.
16, 17, I'm guessing.
Talking in real life or
No, just in the what's she supposed to be in the show? Like, is she?
She wears a school uniform, so
Shit.
I'm assuming between 13 and 16.
Well, she's in high school, so I was saying
Oh,
16, 17, maybe, because they were talking about graduation.
fetal alcohol.
Sure, whatever. I didn't know when she was not a kid.
No. And I thought that was a great point on Jamie Foxx's part. He was like, you out here in these streets dealing, and you know what these drugs do. You gave up your right to be a kid. You can't be that no more. And that was like, hey, look, you chose not to stay in child's place and grow up. Welcome to the real world.
But that was talk coming from a broken man.
Of course.
He treated her like a child at the end of the movie.
Of course.
But also, there was some truth to it because she was like, oh, I'm just a kid. But literally, as it starts, she's literally pretending to walk up on people with a gun.
Added wrinkle, she's in that situation because our fair police officers in America put her in that situation.
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt had her out there slinging.
Well, she was already
Because she
singing,
was
so he
in a-
just figured he'd use her.
I didn't know she was on. I just thought
Oh, yeah.
that was...
Yeah, because
She was-
Newt is
her and
her
Newt was
cousin.
Newt was her cousin and also her dealer. And she was one of the her first bag boys.
So she would run drugs for him. So he was like, well,
I'll
I'm trying to get a drug
give you
too.
the money and I'll just take the drugs.
And she was out there because she didn't have no choice, like most people in America.
Which another thing that I love that they touched on too was like the healthcare in general, and how even in the low people on the lowest end of the economy, like they have real issues that come up. One of the biggest ones they showed was like her mom or her caregiver had diabetes, and how are people on low income supposed to deal with these major issues legitimately? So of course, like I said, that was another great thing that they introduced to the story.
So I'll give it. There was a lot of realism in this movie, in this quote unquote fantasy movie. A lot of realism. FBI, what was that? Or whatever they were.
Helios?
The agents or whatever they were comically bad.
Yes, they were, but they were also, I thought, a representation of ICE as well.
And piggybacking off of that, you know who I thought was a real caricature, and granted this character didn't do much, the chief of police.
Courtney B. Vance.
So that's who that was.
Yeah, he had to hurry up and go to Lovecraft.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us for this episode of the Just Test Review. As we sat down and broke down Power.
Is that the name of the movie?
Yeah, that's what I'm calling it.
Project Power.
Project Power, Project Pat. So, as you can see, there were some great elements to the film.
So back in the 90s and early 2000s, it was called Project Pat.
For the 990. So basically, the overall theme of the movie, overall themes that they introduced in the movie, and the social themes that they constructed were actually pretty okay. But
They were there.
Of course, they faltered on storytelling in some instances. So going around the table really quickly, what score would you grade this?
This was a movie.
Okay.
Damn. 6. The church's chicken ruined it.
All right.
I'd give it like a 7. I
All right.
liked it.
7.
I'll give it a. You know what? Jamie Foxx actually pulled the score up for me, so I'll give it like a 7.58.
He's
I'll
an
be-
entertainer.
I'll be generous. I'll give it a 5.
All right. But you know what? This does open gateway to a sequel, which I would love for them to explore. It does. I would love for them to explore.
No.
I would
And
love
how
to.
Tracy developed her powers
Thank
after
you.
this.
How?
Because she never got to use them the way she wanted to, because
She
they
was-
just like, oh, she's got powers, let's snatch her up. So she never actually got to
And
learn how to
mind you, there are
use it
others.
properly.
There
She was literally Dende from Dragon Ball Z.
actually shoot, and but mind you, there are other people out there who experimented on. They probably had kids as well, but we don't know. But thank you guys for joining us for this episode. Like and subscribe. But what were your favorite parts of Project Pat? What did you like? What did you dislike? And if you tell us at the bottom, we'll tell you how you're wrong.
Give me a project check.
Like and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
Hood rats need love too.
Jesus.